Okay, I'll be sending the stream link right now, and then I'll actually get started. Okay, let's get started. Can you guys see my screen? Let me actually pull up the video so I could see the comments. Yeah, let's get it. Gonna shut this light off actually. Okay, what I'm looking for right now is, yeah, that looks good. What I'm looking for right now is 30-minute IFVG, which I mentioned earlier in the Discord for those of you that are in there. So all I said is that this is what I'm looking for, and hopefully this is going to give us a trade during London session. Because we had a 30-minute FVG. As you guys know from my Asia session model, I always look for a 30-minute IFVG. 30-minute FVG shows me that there's enough volatility in the market and we can actually look for a trade. So if we get an IFVG, that's basically telling me that we created the high of the day, and typically after creating the high of the day, we get the actual body, like the expansion towards the opposite side from the high of the day. So in this case, on the 30-minute time frame, I'm looking for a pullback into this IFVG. Just to kind of watch, are we going to disrespect it? Are we going to respect it, close here, and continue going lower? And then it's a matter of where we're actually going to go lower. So I have to scale back up because I haven't honestly looked at the charts in a few days. I've had my exams going on right now, my final exams. So I haven't really been looking at the charts. I passed one of my funded accounts, and that's all I've been really focusing on. Okay, so on the contrary, on the 4-hour time frame, we actually have a bullish fair value gap, which we already tapped into. So if I'm looking for an expansion, I'm actually going to look for more buy side from here. I wouldn't want to be selling just because of a 30-minute confluence when there's something on the 4-hour that's pushing it higher. So instead of looking for a sell from this bearish IFVG, I'm going to actually look for this bearish FVG to be inverted and become a bullish FVG so that we can get more buy side from here. Otherwise, I guess we just wait it out and see what happens on the lower time frame. So right now, both of these fair value gaps are on the 30-minute time frame. And what I'm looking for is that both of those fair value gaps either like it stops in the middle of the top one or we close above them so that we can continue running higher. So let's go back into full screen. Whew. I think I ate too much food because I'm literally out of breath right now just from talking. Okay, I'm actually going to scale down and look for something potentially for a buy side. Sorry, probably should have muted my mic. Okay, so when we're looking for buy side, obviously this right here, this big gap right here that I have outlined was the 4-hour one that I was just showing you guys. So if we swept the low right here and we're running from a 4-hour fair value gap, we're basically like, we're getting a lot of bullish confluences. And if you want to take a buy, say anticipating that we run up here and close above with the next body, if we're expecting it to close above right here, I'll just use like a box. if we're expecting it to come up like this and close above these two fair value gaps, then basically we would want to go to the lower time frame, like 5 minute right now, and find some IFVG inside of this leg right here that we can use as an entry to target the close above here, the anticipation that we run through it. And we don't really have to question whether the bias is bullish. It's most likely going to be bullish because we have been bullish for the longest time. We've just constantly been running towards buy side. So I don't see why it would suddenly change when there hasn't been any major economic news, anything that shifted where price is pulling towards. So on the 5 minute, I don't actually see anything because there's no fair value gaps here to the left hand side. So all that I'd say we have to do is wait for this to be inverted. And preferably, I would like to get into the trade before it happens. But I think it's fine to just wait it out. Like, we're still going to get the trade because this is only the beginning of London session. So we don't need to be in a rush to catch any trades. We don't need to have this fear of missing out because we don't know where it's going yet. We want more confirmation. What do you guys think is going to happen? Daily FEG2. But we have a daily FEG2. Do we? Where? Where do you see a daily fair value gap? This is the closest daily fair value gap. So what are you going to do with this one? Nothing. This, if you're talking about this right here, that's not a daily fair value gap because this daily candle hasn't closed yet. So you can see right here, it looks like a daily fair value gap, but this candle can literally just pull back down like this because it has yet to close. And if it pulls back down like this, it's not going to be a fair value gap. You can't use that as a fair value gap because it's not a fair value gap just yet. Once it closes, yes, it will be a fair value gap. Until then, we are only referencing this 4-hour fair value gap. Yeah, well, you can't use the second one as a draw on liquidity. There's no point in like targeting sell side towards this right here because we're bullish, right? There was a fair value gap right here and right here as well. Why didn't it go into that one? Because it doesn't have to. We're bullish. It can just keep running up. Once it does run down there, sure. Like once it starts tapping into them over and over again, then we might see that there's a change in the trend and we're going to start targeting sell side. No, we shouldn't expect it to come down here. We don't. Why would we expect it to come down here? That would, like, we're bullish. So you're basically saying that the trend is bearish if you're aiming for sell side. All your objective is right now is to aim for buy side inside of each session. So now that it's a London session, we're going to target buys. And we want to find some confirmation for buy side. So you're not going to be looking for sells towards a daily fair value gap. And we also don't want to be like rushing into like a sell right here just because this is a fair value gap. We want to wait for it to close, show us that it's staying within it. Have you started trading Asia to London? No, I haven't traded at all. If that's what you're asking, like if I've traded today, I haven't took any trades yet. I placed some 0.01s on my 100K so that I can get the daily days traded out of the way. So I finally passed the 100K account and they started reviewing it. So it's going to take a few days for me to get the funded for that 100K account. What you guys been up to? I literally had a final exam not too long ago, so I'm kind of cooked. And I don't think I even got like 30% on it. I just didn't put in enough time into studying, and the content was just too much. Like, I couldn't procrastinate on it. Are you asking like if I regularly trade London? Yeah, for me right now, it's not actually 2 a.m. It's you can see right here, it's 11 p.m. London session for me is during 11, and I don't normally trade London session. I normally trade Asia session. I was just busy today, so I didn't trade it. If I was looking for something during Asia session today, I think I would have been thrown off, because my Asia session model requires an IFVG, and I would have saw this IFVG. I would have also saw it come back into it and stay within it, and I probably would have tried to sell from here. How many of you actually trade ICT? Like, does anybody trade differently? So I would have probably gotten stopped out if I tried to take a trade from here. Luckily, I was busy. The name of the indicator is ICT kill zones right here. Tradinator ICT kill zones. ICT and price action. Price action is ICT. ICT is just the name for the price action. What do you mean by price action? Price action just means using things that are already on the chart, like fair value gaps, order blocks. That's ICT. Liquidity. That's price action. Okay, so we have like 9 minutes until the first close. We can always look at the lower time frame, see if there's anything that can potentially get us into a trade. One of those things, for example, would be like right here. This technically would be a bullish Reaper as well, where a fair value gap gets disrespected and respected again. But then there's also just a regular fair value gap, so I wouldn't look at the Reaper. Like if it taps into this one, for example, I honestly wouldn't mind getting into a trade, targeting buy side, because I'm expecting at least the fair value gaps to get filled, or at the least, we will likely hit this fair value gap. So like this would be like a 1-to-1 trade right here if we hit the fair value gap before we hit this. But it looks like we're about to hit this already, so there's no point in taking that trade anymore. But for example, if it was to come down here, and I know that there's also this 30-minute fair value gap right here, typically I would get into a trade like this because I know that it's drawing to this. It's just not there yet, and it's using this 5-minute fair value gap to get to the 30-minute fair value gap. So that's a lot of the trades that I place, is when there's a higher time frame target, like even a 30-minute, or most of the time it's a daily. Then you can use the lower time frame as your entry to target the higher time frame. And that's basically like the whole idea of how you trade profitably, I think. How you have a bias. The bias is always going to be higher time frame confluences, and you're using lower time frame confluences to get you to the higher time frame ones. It would be really nice if we did end up closing above it right now on the 30-minute time frame with this candle, because if we close it with this candle right here, then we can trade from the next one to like the highs, for example. But you can see ICT always says that if you're bullish and there's a like fair value gap that's bearish, and you know that it's probably going to invert it, you can take your trade before. Like for us, it would be if that 5-minute fair value gap got hit, we would be able to take the trade from a lower time frame before it actually closed above. And then we would already be in profit and risk-free by the time it runs up here. So we have a bigger buffer of like holding the trade. Because I don't know if you guys have seen this sometimes, but I've seen sometimes the candles, they close above, creating an IFEG, but then the wick of this next candle that opens, so they close above it, and then the next candle that opens like this, the wick sometimes literally just like digs down all the way through it. Just like this. So it digs all the way down through it like this, but it pulls back, creating the wick, and then the next candle opens and it continues higher. Basically, like I've been in multiple trades where I got stopped out like that, where a wick stops me out because I get in from an IFEG. It stops me out, comes back, closes, and I usually re-enter because it usually expands after anyways. You know, it was like the wick shows me that it wanted to manipulate all the orders out of there. But I won't be confident in being able to take that trade until it closes. If it pulls back and closes like this, then I'm confident that it's still respecting the IFEG, and we're going to go higher. You guys understand what I mean? Okay, we have 5 minutes left. Okay, 5-minute time frame. Let's see. This might be a trade already. So we did get an IFEG. I'm low-key going to get in and just target the buy side here. I have a new account with MetaTrader from GoFunded Trader. Like when I usually do giveaways, you can assume that I also got an account because to represent them. Like I'm usually like, if you guys want me to represent your firm, then you should also give me something, you know. So this is a IFEG right here, where a bearish fair value gap gets inverted. That means that it was previously bearish and you were expecting sells from it. But it came up above, closed above it, and now it became bullish. So what you can expect is now from the IFEG, you can like secure your stop loss, because in this case we also have a bullish fair value gap below. So I'd say the most secure stop loss would be below this fair value gap, and then your target, our first target, would be closing above this. So in 5 minutes we want to target this at least. Then you can close your position, wait for the next 30-minute candle to open, and then you could target buy side from there. Or you could just target where you would normally target and hold your position, because technically you're safe. If your stop loss is down here, you're pretty much safe even from the next candle. So here we have an IFEG, and we're going to see if we're going to expand right now. So I'm willing to take a loss here because I did enter early, right? That doesn't mean that I'm going to like think that, oh, I'm wrong if I take my stop loss. That just means that I was willing to take a risk because I'm anticipating that this is going to happen, where this becomes an IFEG. I'm going to pull up you guys' comments. $15-minute? Yeah, that would also be valid entry before the actual 30-minute one gets created. But in a case where you get in from an IFEG on the lower time frame and then it doesn't actually form on the higher time frame, you're cooked sometimes. Like say I got in off of this 5-minute IFEG, but now the 30-minute candle is going to close down here. Like, okay, what's going to happen now? I basically got in too early because I was impatient. The higher time frame didn't actually respect the thing that I was expecting it to do, and therefore I have no confirmation. But I think I'm safe here because we still have 2 minutes for this candle to close, and then it looks like it's digging into this lower fair value gap. So it can dig into it here and pull back in the last minute, close up here, and I would be confident to say that it respected it. We're going to see right now how it expands. This is why you have to know of the confluences around it, because you don't want to be stopped out randomly like this because you put your stop loss right below it. Like, you should usually never put your stop loss right below a IFEG, because you can always get stopped out. There's always going to be wicks that do damage. Okay, see, so we respected it with the next candle. We're basically stopping. Like, when a candle closes after closing above a IFEG, it's basically showing you that the momentum is stopping, right? It was running up here, and now it's starting to run down, but all the momentum on the downside is stopping right here, right? If it starts consolidating, it's showing you that the momentum for down, like bear or sell side, stopped somewhere. Why did it stop, you can ask yourself? Because there's something that's pushing price higher. So it's kind of like the barrier that's stopping the momentum right here. And that usually is the midpoint of fair value gaps, right? We can mark out the midpoint. Boom, boom. So if it closes around the midpoint, starts consolidating, you can expect that it's actually respecting the fair value gap and is likely to expand from there. Let's see what happens. So it looks like this candle wants to dig into this lower bullish fair value gap. Let's just put this to the side for now. $30-minute time frame. So we already closed on the 30-minute time frame. We didn't end up. Okay, so this would actually be a sign of a bearish, like a bearish move, because we tapped into the bearish IFEG. You see, we tapped into it, but we ended up pulling back and closing down here. So that would actually be bearish. I'm still not going to sell because I don't think that it's going to go down from this 30-minute IFEG when there's a 4-hour bullish fair value gap that's pushing price higher. But if it does start like melting off and it creates some lower time frame bearish for IFEGs, then I'll consider changing my bias. Like if on the 5-minute time frame we close below this fair value gap and create an IFEG, I'll consider switching my position to sell side and target maybe these equal lows now and target deeper into the fair value gap. Otherwise, I don't want to do it because the next 30-minute candle, the one that we're currently in, can still pull back higher and create the IFEG. Right? It's not the end of the day just because it didn't create the IFEG yet. I wasn't actually expecting it to be created. It would be nice that it was created like earlier because we would be able to take the trade, but it doesn't have to. Okay, someone asked, how do we use premium and discount for fair value gaps? The same way you would use it for a move. Swing high. So if there's a swing high, that wasn't correct. Let me just find a different example. So here we have a swing high, this consolidation. There you go. This is a good example. So right here, we have a swing. I'm going to just keep an eye on the chart on my phone so I could see if that 5-minute gets inverted. So how to use premium and discount. Premium and discount means that there's the premium, which is above the 0.5, and the discount, which is below the 0.5. This basically means that people are selling their buy positions up here in the premium where the price is more expensive. So you can see up here, price is $2,996. It's almost $3,000 up here. So sellers, if they bought down here in the discount, which means price was cheaper, then they're going to sell all their positions up here. And then people want to buy in the discount. And basically how you trade premium and discount is if you're bullish, you wait for the market to come into the discount. And if there's a discount for value gap, you expect it to come into the discount, and that's where you want to buy. You want to buy in the discount and you want to sell in the premium. So when the market runs down into the discount, you can see that it stops right here. You get into your position, right? Because you bought it at a cheap price of $2,987 and you're going to sell it in the premium. The premium is going to be above the 0.5 and it's going to be, so in a bearish move like this, there's the premium, right? Premium fair value gaps. There's a fair value gap right here. This is the highest fair value gap in the premium. That's where you're going to target and you're going to sell your position in the premium. Runs up there, boom. You sold your position, made a 10K profit. So now that you hit the premium and you sold, everyone else is selling as well, and the market's going to start melting off a little bit. It's going to melt off and go into the next discount, where there's a next fair value gap that people are buying from. Here's another discount fair value gap. Or I guess it's not exactly in the discount. Let's see. Yeah, so look, it came down below the 0.5, and that's where people started buying from. Right below the 0.5. You can see twice it ran in there, but it started going up from there. Same like this. This is where big money is buying all their positions in the discount. And you can do the same thing for fair value gaps. You can tell that there's a discount of a fair value gap if you mark out the midpoint of it. So under the midpoint, that's the discount. So you can see most of the time there's going to be wicks that dig below the midpoint, but usually it pulls back and the bodies actually close right here. So it looks like this. There's a candle like this, and it has a wick. So usually what happens is the body comes down like this into while it's still open. It comes down creating the wick, and then it pulls back and closes in the midpoint. So the wick dug deeper, but the body actually still respected the fair value gap. Okay, so we're actually selling off right now. I don't know if you guys are watching it on your phones. We're selling off from the IFG, so I honestly didn't expect that. So what we're looking for now is if this IFG gets created, we respect it, then maybe we'll flip it around and try to sell towards the 4 hour again. Okay, so we have 3 minutes left for this close. We might get a little pullback because we're now back inside of the 4 hour FVG. So not giving us any opportunities really. It's moving pretty fast. So I guess in this case, it was just a matter of me anticipating buy side when I should have considered that it was bearish. Like my initial bias was this IFG, and we tapped into it and ran off from this IFG. Right? So most of the time it's not the fact that ICT doesn't work. Like a lot of beginners, they're like, oh, ICT doesn't work. Most of the time it's the fact that you have an incorrect bias. But if you know how to read price action, you'll always see where you went wrong. Like in this case, I might have taken a loss, but I understand why I took a loss. Because first of all, I got in too early, and I didn't respect the 30-minute, like the idea that it tapped in but came down below. So now we're going to look for this 5 minute to be some confirmation. We're going to make sure that the next 5 minute candle doesn't actually disrespect this, like it doesn't pull back up and just completely ignore this IFG, because then we might still run up and close above. So it's not necessarily completely bearish yet. We want confirmation. We want this candle to close below, and we want the next candle to also stay below this range. What do you mean? Equilibrium is 0.5, yeah. Why do you need to know terms like that? What is that going to help you with? ICT always overcomplicates stuff. Like, why do you need to know what equilibrium means? Just know that you can use the midpoint sometimes. If you see it stopping at the midpoint, then you should be able to recognize that. Why does it matter what it's called or what it means? The simpler that it is for you, like, the better. Okay, so see, we just pulled back from the 4 hour, and we're about to respect this 5 minute. So even though I took a loss, I think I'm still bullish. So I'm actually going to re-enter once this closes inside of this 5 minute. Like, some people might start selling right now because they are like, oh, it didn't take out the lows. We're probably going to target the lows. But that's not necessarily the case, because we're probably going to just expand from this. People might not know that there's a 4 hour FVG that actually pushed price. So just digging into this right here already grabbed so much liquidity. Like, way more liquidity than taking out this low, probably. So it doesn't have to run back down there. And you can just enter. So I'm going to re-enter right now. Risking less on this position. And going for the high. I actually need to target 3070 for the profit target on this account. So I just got in. Let me go into the lower time frame. That previous trade just looks terrible. So I just secured my, I'll just pull up OBS so I can see what I'm showing you guys. So look at this first position first off. That's terrible. I basically got in at the most high point right here. Like, the highest point that I could have possibly got in at when we saw the 5 minute get inverted. So that's the riskiest part. Like, if you get in off of a IFEG and it ends up being completely incorrect, you'll basically be getting in at the very high, and then it pulls back down and you're cooked. But now the second entry, so I put in 3 lots right here. It's a 50K count, and I got in right there. And I'm targeting, like, way up over yonder, 3070, just because that's my profit objective, to make like 4K on this account. So let's see. Let's watch price and see how it respects these bullish confluences if we do invert the 30-minute IFEG up here. So it already basically disrespected this fair value gap. Now it's a bearish Reaper, but I don't really want to look at it because we also just have a bearish fair value gap on the 30-minute time frame. So the simpler you can do it, the better. So like I said, we just pulled back, right? We pulled down all the way in here, but that doesn't mean that we're bearish, right? We can still, with this 30-minute candle that has 18 minutes left, it can still run all the way up here and close above this fair value gap. And if you see that happen, like, that's perfect sign that, like, you can catch a sell trade, but that doesn't mean it's bearish, you know? And most of the time, people get greedy because they catch a sell off of, like, this IFEG, and they're like, oh, the market's bearish, I'm going to keep selling. But it's actually bullish, and you completely twisted your bias. It's going to run up, and you're going to keep selling because you are expecting it to sweep this low right here. But it doesn't have to sweep this low because there's a fair value gap, and it already filled it a little bit. So it already grabbed a bunch of liquidity. Nice, beautiful trade, honestly. All we need now is that this candle closes above and we continue expanding towards who knows where. 3070. So most of the time when I get into a good trade, I hold it until my objective. And that's how I've been profitable for the longest time. That's how I've secured payouts. That's how I pass all my funded accounts. Whenever I catch good trades, I hold them. Or any trades, basically. I continue catching trades, and I would take a loss or break even if it doesn't hit my objective. And I just take the next trade and the next trade. I don't like closing my trades before it hits my profit objective. unless it's like the end of the day or there's no more volatility. You know, if I'm trading New York PM session and the market's about to close, then I'll close my trade early and I'll take like 2K profit instead of 8K. But otherwise, I'm always aiming for my profit objective no matter how far that is. Because you don't necessarily know when the market will stop. Especially if it's the beginning of a session, we can honestly start expanding and just run up again. Like, look at the amount of buy side we've been getting. Why would we ever start selling? There's no point in switching the bias just because we've only been going up. If we've only been going up, boom, easy to trade. Just keep buying and you'll be winning. So remember, I'm just going to do a little trade recap right now and then I'll make a video on this later. The reason why I took this buy right now and why I took a buy earlier. So the earlier buy was because we created an IFEG right here. So I was expecting it to use this IFEG to go higher, but we ended up running all the way down here into the 4-hour FEG. So even though I took a loss, I'm still confident that we're going to go up because we pulled back up here and respected this 5-minute fair value gap. So right away I got into another buy because we respected it. We pulled back all the way from this 4-hour fair value gap. So it's not going to be respecting a 30-minute fair value gap when there's a 4-hour one. Okay, trade recap done. I can chill now. Oh, my eyes hurt as well. Already up 600 on this trade. I think I'm just going to leave my stop loss below this low. Just in case, because this is a 30-minute bearish fair value gap. So I don't want to like catch any wicks, any stray wicks that end up pulling down, taking my break even out, and then running higher. Time to read your guys' comments. My favorite part of streaming. That 5-minute IFG wasn't created on my chart. What chart are you using? This is Forex.com, the chart that I have chosen as the almighty chart of all charts. Because this chart it created an IFG. I can see it. I'm looking at it right now. I don't know if you can see that, but that's an IFG right there. See, it closed above it. The only problem with this is that there was a bearish 30-minute IFG right here. So this tapping into it for the first time ended up making it go down. It's not that there wasn't an IFG, it's that there was a more significant IFG. There's also an IFG right here. Another reason for me not to go break even, because it can still tap into here before going higher. Alright, I'm going to clean up my chart. All that we really need to look at right now is, or let's get rid of this because that technically hits stop loss. We're going to get rid of this IFEG as well. We're going to get rid of this IFEG. All we need to look at is this bullish one that we got in from. We don't need this 4-hour one anymore because we already know that we already used it. We don't need to look at the low. All we need is to watch the 30-minute FEG. And hopefully watch it get inverted so that we can hold our position from this 5-minute FEG. Boom. Simple. So I'm in a buy like right here. And I'm just going to say this is going to be our profit target 1. TP1. Boom. Now it's time to get some Instagram Reels in, guys. If you haven't already, there is a giveaway, guys. Can you believe it? Can you believe that there is a giveaway on my Instagram page today? and you have about 5 days. Drop a comment, tag some people. You can tag me if you want. You think I'm your friend? Tag me. I allow it. I would actually appreciate it. You could tag all 3 of my accounts. My main account, my other trading account, and the ICT dojo. Well, now it's called Full Send Traders. It's a good name, huh? So there's a giveaway. Go drop a like on the post, repost it on your story. Follow Edward. It's from Goat Funded, and that's a pretty good firm. Let's go check out their website, actually. Trade's going well. We don't need to really worry about it. Goat Funded Trader. Boom. I've also created a form for mentorship. If you're interested in like one-on-one mentorship, fill out this form. You can DM me trading and I'll send it to you. But Goat Funded Trader. They've been running for a really long time. So I'd say they know what they're doing, and I know a lot of students that have gotten paid from this prop firm. I also have an account, so I'll show you guys firsthand whether they pay or not. Either way, if you get a free account, then you can practice, right? 10K is a pretty nice account. And if you pass it, there you go. You have a funded account. If not, you learned your lesson while trading it. So it doesn't hurt. Go drop a comment and maybe you'll win. We could watch Instagram Reels together.
I was a break-even trader. All I had to do to become profitable was
dodging dungeons,
learn some discipline, and gain some real accountability. For the first time in 3 years, I finally started a mentorship. Now I know you're.
I'm gonna get copyright strikes for this. Damn. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna watch Reels. What the heck? I'm not watching Reels right now, guys. There's better things in life than watching Reels. Come on. Okay, we just tapped into the IFVG. We want this thing to be respected, like actually. If we disrespect this, I'm scared. This would be one of those, like, if you're really confident in the trade, you'd add more positions when it taps into this IFVG. Nice, that's beautiful, guys. Beautiful, absolutely lovely. Look at this. I'm gonna make sure my face cam's not in the way. Nice, that's beautiful, guys. Beautiful, absolutely lovely. Look at this. Where's your SL on this trade? I put it below the low. Just down here. I always have a pretty big stop loss. My entry's also pretty good, so that's like $600 with a 3 lot, because 3 lots, $600 is 20 pips, I think. So 30.48 would be 30.47, 30.46. So I think I actually got in a little earlier because my stop loss is just below the low. Put your own stop loss based off of your own account size and your own risk, because I choose my own risk. I choose how much I'm risking on my funded account. And it's different from what you're going to be risking on your account size, how much lot size you're going to be using, and where your stop loss should go. Dang, this video that I uploaded earlier, like, I can actually listen to myself talk for a long time. Because honestly, I did drop a lot of things that were kind of like personal to my current situation in school and like balancing life, in general, social life, my youth group. So if you guys have that same struggle where you're just struggling to balance it, like, listen to what I'm saying and how I'm kind of coping with it. It will just take some time, and sometimes you do have to like fail, you know. You're going to have to lose out on some things. And for me this time, it was one of the classes that I was taking. I was just simply not studying enough for it, and I didn't really have a choice but to just fail it because I didn't have enough time. Like, I procrastinated so hard, and there was so much content that I didn't have enough time to study for it so that I can actually pass the final exam. That's a really nice close, actually. Running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. Such a good song. Riptide. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see if you guys asked any questions. I'm just gonna sit in silence watching my trade if that's what you guys want. All you gotta do is think of something, ask it, and it shall be answered. Yeah, like, I'm fine, honestly. I'm fine watching reels. Like, reels are great. There's actually a 15-minute bullish fair value gap right here that I completely missed. But that one also technically got respected. And this is not an IFEG. There's one right here. But it's not an IFEG yet. We don't need to pay attention to the 15-minute. We just need to watch the 30-minute and wait for this 30-minute to come up and close above. Another 30 minutes with you guys. I've had enough of this. There might be some new people in here. Guys, there's a giveaway on the Instagram page. Very simple rules, and I'm choosing the winners myself. So, it might be rigged. Let's just say that. It might be rigged. It might be particularly rigged to people who have joined my Discord. Failed my finals to learning ICT. Good thing I learned like way back in high school, so I wasn't really getting so negatively affected by failing finals, you know. Like all that, I got good grades. I just didn't pass my final exams in high school, but that didn't really affect me because I still got into like a university, even got a full ride. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll be back to taking calls probably from next week. I'll be home, I think, so I'll have my setup. That is a lot of sell side. Well, let's just say I was wrong. Well, I have to stop trading on this account because if I keep trading, I will likely hit the daily drawdown. Unfortunate. Should I take more position? That would be up to you. Since I have no idea if it's going to go down or up, because we have yet to sweep these lows, but we decided to dig down into it again. So technically we can pull up, but it's looking like it's respecting the sell side. Both this candle and the next kind of didn't go anywhere. It stayed here. I was expecting at least this one to close bullish so that we can pull up and close above it in the next candle. But I'm not sure at this point. Because if we're targeting somewhere into the 4 hour, it's going to be hard for me to determine where to target for sells. Maybe like the midpoint. But I'm just not confident enough in a position like that. I would personally just take like a swing position. If you have an account that you can do a big swing position on, I would put my stop loss below like the 4 hour for rally gap and just go long. I think I'm going to do that. It'll at least mitigate most of the losses because I still think it's bullish, but we're probably going to dig deeper into this 4 hour. And if not, it's probably just going to consolidate around here because you can see that we're failing to sweep the low. And it is Thursday, so there is news in this. No, there isn't. Today. Oh, yeah, there is because it's Thursday right now. I thought tomorrow would have been Friday. So there's news this morning. Unemployment claims. It's pretty strong news. I guess I just have to wait until I get mine funded. Make sure you guys share the losses on the Discord. I would really appreciate that. Say something like Marquee sucks, ICT doesn't work. Just so people that didn't join the stream know what's up, you know. Nice, we're finally moving up. Had enough of this. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's never too late to full port your account, guys. Never give up. Oh, we finally closed below the 5-minute fair value gap and created an IFEG. That would be kind of like the switching point of sell side. I want to watch this for like at least another 10 minutes before I turn off the stream. Because I'm curious whether we actually do sweep the low or we run back up. Like, I'm not going to take any more trades, but I am curious because this is like where I learn even now, because it's always going to be a new scenario. Even if I've seen the same setup that I personally trade like 1,000 times before, it's always going to be new for me to see like a new scenario like this where we have equal lows and a 4-hour fair value gap. Are we going to sweep the lows or can we just run up from the fair value gap by itself? Like, I've seen this happen multiple times. But coming back into it, that's something new. Are we going to use this again without sweeping the lows? Or are we going to sweep the lows before going higher? Who knows? I don't know. And that's why we're going to learn together. The only thing that I've been looking at on Bitcoin is the fact that we're inside of a monthly fair value gap. You see that? Monthly bullish FVG. I don't like trading it though. Like, the spreads on Bitcoin on like a Forex broker or Forex prop firm is terrible. I would never trade Bitcoin. Holding it, that's another story. But trading it, why would you ever do that when you have gold or GBP, JPY, the S&P or NASDAQ, gold? You don't need anything else. So we're basically cooked here on buys. So if you're still in the position, who knows what's gonna happen to you? Because there's a 5-minute IFVG right here. There's a 4-hour bullish FVG right here. Now it's inside of the range, so I don't know. Is it gonna go sideways? Is it gonna go up, down? Sometimes I think trading just demands too much patience from one. Like, you just gotta sit there sometimes, like, and just be one with the charts. Or you forget about the charts and you lock into some real life. Most of the time when I'm in a trade and I'm not streaming, like I never sit in front of the charts like this, constantly watching every 5-minute FEG and stuff. It's very useful for learning purposes, for you guys, for example. But usually I'm out doing something, hanging out with friends, or I don't know, at the gym, and I'm just like checking the charts every 30 minutes. And most of my positions are swing trades, so I don't have to like micromanage the position. I just get in and I can monitor it, see if I get stopped out, or if my position's still going strong, if I go to break even, or adjust my stop loss, you know. And I say it at every stream, like, never sit in front of your computer as I'm doing on stream, because it's solely for the purposes of learning for you guys. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. Like, I was crashing out earlier. That was a real crash out. Like, I was actually about to crash out. I think I'm about to go back to some reels, bro. I want to see what happens here. The issue here is that it didn't start melting off right away after the IFVG. So that's why I still think that there's a chance it goes up. To me. Okay, I had enough of this, honestly. Like, it's just irritating when you know that it's just not doing anything, you know? Sorry, I'm just enjoying myself. uh, of course, guys. Hopefully it actually goes somewhere and we can actually place another trade. In the meantime, I just gonna keep scrolling. What else is there to life, man? Just Instagram Reels at 12 a.m. What are you guys doing tomorrow? There you go, some sell side. I should get Chris to do some streams with me, huh? Then we can have full-on conversations. Because honestly, I don't talk with Chris as much as we should be talking. We can both hop on and I can like screen share his face cam from like Discord or whatever, and then we can live trade together. I also should have another feature on TradingView. This right here. Don't know why it's in a different chart color, but change this to like 4-hour time frame. Too broke for that. Way too broke for that. So I ended up using the 5-minute FVG to go a little lower. I still wouldn't say that's enough because it's consolidating inside of this range. I'm just gonna end the stream here because it's just taking too long to do anything. But I'll probably come back and just take a screenshot, let you guys know where I think it's gonna go in probably like an hour, because I want to see some clear sell side getting swept. It looks like that's actually what's gonna happen right now. So yeah, I was looking for some buys, but we do know why it went down, and that's because of this bearish IFEG right here, 30-minute IFEG, alongside with this 30-minute bearish fair value gap. So there was two bearish confluences. I was just honestly expecting it to get disrespected because we were running from a 4-hour bullish fair value gap, right? So I was expecting it to run up through this because we were coming from this thing right here. So I was expecting these 30-minute not to be strong enough to push through, right? But I was wrong today. That's fine. You survive, you trade the next day. So we just swept some lows. We'll see what happens. But I'm no longer interested in trading because I don't want to be selling at all. I'd rather wait for some new fair value gaps or a move up and trade from like these IFGs getting inverted. Target some buy side. So that's it for the stream. Thanks for hopping in. Catch you guys in the next one.